Thanks to a whistleblower and a leaked top-secret FBI document, we now know that Jack Smith and Joe Biden's FBI spied on 9 Republican senators during an investigation into January 6, a full 2.5 years after January 6 happened. This news broke this afternoon during a press conference by Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson.
Solicitation of these telephone records, which I think emphasizes the political weaponization that was behind all this effort. And we're still getting more information, but we've released some records today, and I'll let Senator Johnson take over from here, and then each one of you colleagues can join in when you want to, whatever you want to say.
First of all, I want to thank Senator Grassley. It is because of his relentless advocacy for whistleblowers that a lot of this information is surfacing right now. We wouldn't know about the list of 100 Republican entities that were targeted by Jack Smith's Arctic Frost investigation. I don't think we know about this as well. So we need whistleblowers. I think Dan Bongino and folks in the FBI, they don't know where all the records are hidden. They still don't. They're not necessarily getting 100% cooperation. But this is outrageous, what has happened. I just want to give you a timeline of this. I think you've already got the FBI sheet that shows the number of members of Congress that were targeted. Representative Kelly, Senators Graham, Hagerty, Hawley, Sullivan, Tuberville, myself, Senator Lummis, and Blackburn. Now, this memo was dated September of 2023. To put it all into context, the Mar-a-Lago raid occurred in August of 2022. Jack Smith announced the indictments against President Trump in August of 2023. So this is almost 2 months later. They're casting this net, this fishing expedition against members of the Senate and the House. Again, I've been investigating this with Senator Grassley. This doesn't surprise me, but it should shock every American of what the Biden administration has done. And by the way, this is the first time I was targeted by the FBI. Under the Obama administration, the same thing happened to both Senator grassley and I. As part of the Foreign Influence Task Force, we were giving a briefing to try and convince us that the Hunter Biden laptop was no big deal, basically trying to throw us off the track. So this is major corruption that's being revealed inside the Obama and Biden Department of Justice, the FBI. And I'll turn it over to, I guess, Senator Hagerty, who's one of the individuals. Again, none of us were subject to targets of this investigation. There's no predicate. There's no reason for this other than a fishing expedition, which, again, should outrage and shock every American. Senator Hagerty.
Absolutely. Thanks. Now, the document he's referring to is this one, and it shows everyone who was investigated, and it shows that they were targeted by CAST, which is the FBI phone tracking system. Obviously, a lot of it's redacted, but what you can see definitely confirms what they said there. And what's really alarming about all of this is this document was just recently discovered thanks to a whistleblower by Kash Patel. And part of the reason why this was made known was because Chuck Grassley has been just adamant and relentless in this investigation. He's been nonstop making sure that no stone is left unturned, and that's why they encouraged more whistleblowers to come forward here. But what is crazy about this is that this document was actually hidden in a vault, one of the top secret prohibited access files that basically very few people in the FBI even had access to it. So according to Just the News, Grassley's office said Monday that the FBI in 2023 sought and obtained data about the senator's phone use from January 4, 2021 through January 7, 2021, the day after the Capitol riot. The senator's office said that the data shows when and to whom a call is made, as well as the duration and the general location data of the call, although not the contents of the call themselves. The Senate chairman's office revealed that the FBI document was found in a prohibited access file in response to Grassley's oversight requests. So in another universe, it's possible that this would have never been discovered. And the fact that this was discovered, keep in mind it's October in President Trump's second term. It's been many months. They've been going through all these files. They've been working with whistleblowers. Of course, many investigations into corruption and making sure that justice is done. The fact that they just now found this one document, it really leads me to question what else happened that isn't being discovered. What else was a corrupt action under the Biden administration, and that, you know, who knows, maybe that evidence was destroyed. Like, we found this, but how much else is there? You know, it's sort of like an iceberg. You see the top of it, you see the tip, but the bulk of it is under the surface of the water, and that's how I feel like in this case. Sure, we found this one document, but what else don't we know about? You heard there, they talked about how this has been going on for a while and the weaponization of the federal government. Unfortunately, Republicans are used to this. We have Crossfire Hurricane, we have the investigation into all the conservative groups, we have the it's just nonstop. And what is absolutely crazy is this investigation itself, Arctic Frost, cost taxpayers, it cost you and I $50 million. They went all over the country. They interviewed people. They put manpower and resources into this $50 million. They didn't charge anyone else. They didn't indict anyone else. The only charges that were brought were against President Trump. And of course, after President Trump won the election, they dropped the charges and Jack Smith quietly goes away. I'm just saying, if there really was a if there really was a crime, you wouldn't drop this case. You would keep going, right? But instead, mysteriously, after Trump wins, Jack Smith is just going to attempt to ride off into the sunset as if nothing happened. This isn't surprising. We saw what happened in New York, where they literally changed the law. They changed the statute of limitations so they could target President Trump. We saw what happened in Atlanta. We saw what happened at Mar-a-Lago. It's just, unfortunately, another pattern of corruption, and it really leads you to wonder, when will someone finally be held accountable in all of this? Well, before we get to that part, here's some more information from the U.S. Senate Committee on the Judiciary. The FBI's Arctic Frost investigation was opened in April 22 by the former anti-Trump agent Timothy Thibault. In November 2022, it was assigned to Special Counsel Jack Smith. Whistleblower disclosures to Grassley earlier this year revealed the FBI acquired the government cell phones of President Donald Trump and former Vice President Mike Pence during its Arctic Frost investigation. Officials in the Biden White House personally assisted the FBI in securing Trump and Pence's government phones. FBI agents used taxpayer dollars to travel the country and conduct dozens of interviews in support of the political probe. Records Grassley made last month showed the FBI also placed 92 Republican-linked individuals and Republican groups, such as Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA, under Arctic Frost's investigative scope. And that's why you heard Senator Ron Johnson there refer to it as a fishing expedition. They didn't actually have a crime where they were looking for evidence. They were just casting this wide net and hoping that they would catch something and could go after people. What is really scary to me is, we're supposed to have the presumption of innocence and not guilt. Here, they had subpoenas issued, and according to the internal FBI records, quote, no warrants or notification to targets per internal documents. So these people obviously had no idea this was going on. Some people out there, especially on the left, are saying, well, if you have nothing to hide, why do you fear if the government tracks you? Hello, 1984, a government that is large enough to track you, is large enough to frame you, is large enough to persecute you, is large enough to target you. There are so many things wrong with that logic right there. We should have a right to privacy. And guess what? We do have a right to privacy. By the way, when it came to January 6th, when it came to the 2020 election, let's not forget that the job of the senators was to basically certify the vote. If they are calling each other in regards to their constitutional duties, they have the right, they have the privilege to communicate with each other directly without fear of political pressure, without fear of political persecution. This could be a very bad precedent if future administrations say, well, Joe Biden did this and Jack Smith did this. Let's just spy on people in Congress in the opposing political party. That is going to chill the democratic process. That is going to chill our constitutional republic and scare our elected representatives from doing their jobs appropriately. It just absolutely is disgusting. Well, if you're like me, you're wondering, will anyone actually be held accountable? It seems like every day we're finding out new evidence of corruption and yet nothing happens. Well, apparently this has been referred to both Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, the FBI and the DOJ, to actually take action. This is from John Solomon from Just the News.
Senator Johnson, Senator Grassley just sent this to me a little bit ago while we're on air. It's a major development. You're taking a look at a letter right there that was just sent to the FBI Director Kash Patel and the Attorney General Pam Bondi. What does it say? It says that Congress has obtained evidence that shows that the Biden White House was directly involved in trying to help start Jack Smith's investigation on the January 6th probe against President Trump. Specifically, that the White House counsel's office secretly obtained President Trump's and Vice President Mike Pence's former phones and giving them to the prosecutors, basically sicking the Justice Department on his future competitor, his future rival in the 2024 election, so that they could look for dirt for possible crimes. There's a lot more coming in. There's a lot of other evidence as well of the White House involvement. Remember, 2 years ago, we were the first news agency, right here, Real America's Voice, Just the News, to report that a White House counsel was directly involved with this investigation. Now, more details, including getting, imagine this, you're the Democrat president and you go get the old Republican's phone for your prior president and send it to the Justice Department. That's what Senators Johnson and Grassley were able to confirm tonight. It's in that letter. Keep an eye on justthenews.com. We're going to get you up to speed on that all throughout the
Well, what is crazy, speaking on a related note, so obviously we have that corruption there. What we have the opportunity to do now, especially if you are in Virginia, we can prevent this type of corruption from ever happening again. So if you guys haven't been following, there is a race for Attorney General in Virginia, and the Democrat candidate, Jay Jones, has been caught with text messages. First of all, these text messages not only obviously show the kind of corruption and lack of moral character that he would bring to the Attorney General's office, but it shows that he actually wants us dead. So keep in mind that the Speaker of the House in Virginia, his last name is Gilbert, so this is who Jay Jones is referring to here. So these are text messages that were leaked by Kerry Coyner. Jay is the text messages in gray, and Kerry Coyner are the text messages in blue. So Jay Jones, again, the Democrat candidate for AG in Virginia, wrote, "If those guys die before me, I will go to their funerals to pee on their graves. Send them out a wash and something." Kerry, Jay Jones. 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Again, Gilbert is the current Speaker of the House in Virginia. Spoiler, put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time. Jay, please stop. This is coming from Kerry. And then he replies, LOL, okay. Kerry says, "It really bothers me when you talk about hurting people or wishing death on them." Wait a minute. It really that? I don't know about you, but to me, that suggests that this isn't the first time he's done that. For her to say that and for her to phrase it that way means he's talked about this not just once, not just twice, but apparently it's a common occurrence in their relationship, which leads me to wonder why she's friends with him and communicates with him. On the right side here, he says, "I genuinely was. I wasn't attacking you. I was trying to understand your logic." Kerry says, "You weren't trying to understand. You were talking about hoping Jennifer Gilbert's children would die." Jay Jones says, "Yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy." Finally, Kerry says, "There isn't. I point blank asked you more than 3 times and you dug in that you meant it. I honestly am questioning a lot today." Jay Jones, I mean, do you think Todd and Jennifer are evil and that they're breeding little fascists, evil little fascists? That's what he called Gilbert's children. And it's even worse. What we didn't see in that text message exchange was there was a lot. He actually wished Gilbert's wife could watch her own child die in her arms so that Gilbert might reconsider his political views. Well, obviously, his texts are awful. They are nasty. This guy is the Democrat nominee for Attorney General. In this political climate, it's so bad that even the sociopaths on Morning Joe on MS Now, I guess we're calling it, they're saying, well, the Democrat Party needs to drop Jay Jones. You know it's bad when you've even lost them.
Text messages, horrible. I didn't want to read them out loud. I'm wondering how the text messages
deeply disturbing messages that have been swiftly condemned across the political aisle. The Republicans have tried to tie this to the Congresswoman.
Swiftly condemned, by the way. So many news stories have not covered this. I guarantee you, if a Republican Attorney General candidate or any Republican running for office, if they had that in writing, it doesn't even have to be email. Could be or a text message. It could be an email or something, right? I guarantee it would be the front page story on every paper, every magazine, the top social media post trending all over the mainstream media. Yet, so for them to claim that, this has hardly gotten any attention, which is why I wanted to bring it to light. The fact that, again, he is the Democrat candidate for AG in Virginia.
Bamberger, the gubernatorial candidate. She did very quickly denounce them. But it's unclear whether this attorney general candidate will stay in the race. I think there's a growing sense that he probably should not. We heard President Trump last night. But even some Democratic leaders, John Hyman, have started to say, like, look, this is inappropriate. You can't, and especially at a time right now with such concern about violent rhetoric and political violence.
Who says that?
Yeah, that this is just way beyond the line.
I would say, you know, not to be too much on the high horse. It's wildly inappropriate under any circumstances today, tomorrow, 10 years ago, 6 months ago. I think the pressure is going to be on Spanberger and for the party to ask this candidate to just quit the race, because just both, it's the right thing. And also the political splashback. You don't want to mess with this right now.
Who says that?
I think the right thing to do is basically this guy should do everyone a favor and step out of the race.
Yeah.
This happened this weekend. Obviously, today is Monday, almost end of day Monday, so we're heading into Tuesday. He is still in the race, so there obviously has not been enough pressure, which is why I wanted to bring this to light and hopefully get this on people's radar. Well, we're going to end on a lighter note. I know that was a lot of heavy news. It's a little bit of a lighter note. I guess you could say darker. You'll get what I'm saying when I get to that. But first, I want to acknowledge the members of today's Governor's Club: J.D. Weatherfly, Jeremy 2001, Happy ×2, Bama Riddenauer, Dennis Nevin, and Levon. These are people who give tips and super thanks to the channel. I'm so grateful for you and glad that you enjoy. Well, one of the top sins that you cannot commit on the left is blackface. You know, anyone who commits blackface, you're racist. Forget the fact that, you know, top comedians, some people still on TV, you know, did blackface in the past. Many Democrats have done blackface, but apparently now you can't do it because it's just racist and it's evil. Well, you may have heard that Bad Bunny is performing at the Super Bowl, and the women over on The View are fear-mongering and saying that ICE is going to do raids at the Super Bowl just because Bad Bunny is performing. Well, Whoopi Goldberg had the brilliant idea for people to make their skin darker. You know, I wouldn't quite call it blackface, but I guess it's brown face. Whoopi, by your own standards, are you not a racist? Are you not, you know, now eligible to be canceled by the left? Take a look at this.
Anyway, she's threatening to go to the Super Bowl when Bad Bunny is there and round up all these people that are illegal immigrants. Do you think that she would go if it was Garth Brooks or Eminem or Taylor Swift or any other white person?
Let me understand what you're saying, because she's going to go to the Super Bowl and round up. How's she going to know who's who?
Because the Supreme Court has given permission to question anyone who has a Spanish accent, who has a dark skin.
Yeah. So here's
That's why.
Thing. Here's the thing. Everybody, get a little cocoa butter, sit in the sun. That's the first thing. and this is the only time you can probably ever do this, give yourself a Latin accent.
You know, Whoopi, that is such a good idea.
And see if she can tell who's who.
The fact that Joy, without missing a beat, oh, that is such a good idea. Come on, you guys are the ultimate hypocrites. Of course, we all knew that, but it is nice to have it on video once and for all. As always, though, all of that is just my analysis and commentary. That is what's going on in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So with this new revelation about Jack Smith, not to mention all the other shenanigans Jack Smith was involved with, do you think that he will too be indicted in the future? Let me know your thoughts, your predictions down in the bottom. I think most of us agree here that he should be investigated, but whether or not that'll actually happen, time will tell, and I'm interested to see what you guys think. If you haven't already, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.